Guys, this is Three Bold Takes. You got Freddie, Chase, and Quinn here as always. And yes, we're getting ready. We're getting closer to football season, so of course we're showing our beautiful faces once again. And we're going to get into kind of a weekend warriors type thing from week 0 to week 1. We're going to do every single game except for the ones you don't know, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. If you guys follow our bowl season mania, usually we kind of dig into every game, give you a little synopsis on everything we can. And so we're going to start with August 23rd, that first Saturday, week 0. You got 5 games, and the first one is played at 11 a.m. in Dublin, Ireland, a Big 12 conference matchup game, Quinn. Iowa State at Kansas State, technically. What do you got there, man?
Yeah, no, frankly, I mean, look, I love Farmageddon. It's one of my favorite like rivalry games that nobody knows about. I think these two teams are high-end teams in the Big 12 for this season, along with Texas Tech on the periphery. Um, so I think it's a little wild to be having such a huge Big 12 matchup be in week 0, but I'm not opposed to it. What I am opposed to, though, is taking what is the biggest rivalry game for Iowa State in Big 12 play and their second biggest rivalry game of the year and plopping it overseas in Ireland.
Yeah.
Why are we taking a huge rivalry game like this? Because, I don't, maybe I'm wrong, Georgia Tech and Florida State fans, come and let me know. I don't view that game as a rivalry game, like at all. But this is Iowa State and Kansas State is a rivalry game. So taking it out of Manhattan, Kansas, and sending it overseas to Ireland irritates me. Now, as far as who's going to win the game, I'm riding with the Cyclones, man. I am an unabashed Cyclones fan. I love Iowa State. I think they've got a really good shot at winning the Big 12 this season. They're who I'm riding with as my Big 12 pick. So give me the Cyclones to take care of Kansas State by a touchdown.
Quinn, that's tough. Hey, I agree with you about some of these games that's being played long overseas. It just like I understand it, but I also hate it, especially when it's a game like this. Like last year, you had Georgia Tech, Florida State. That was an interesting game, right? It was an ACC game, but let's be honest, both Florida State and ACC's or both Florida State and Georgia Tech's like home field environment can get a little crazy. But I don't know. That game's different than this one. But when we're talking about this game, you said that Iowa State's going to be your Big 12 champion. I'm
My
going
pick, baby.
Kansas State to be my pick for the Big 12. So in order for that to happen, Kansas State's going to win this game. Iowa State lost 3 of their top receivers last year. Their number 1 player on the defensive side of the ball all to the NFL. So they've got a whole new cast of characters at the wide receiver position. And I'm going with the better quarterback in Avery Johnson as well. So that's kind of what we've got. Listen, we haven't seen these teams play yet, so I know that like some of these predictions later on down the road may change a little bit, but based upon last year and the returning production, I'm going to go Kansas State to win this game. I think it'll be another field goal-ish game, game-winning field goal at the end. It'll be a very, very close and good game over in Ireland for sure.
Well, Freddie, you're hitting the nail on the head. We haven't seen these teams play, so that's a big thing. And last year, we were like, oh my gosh, Florida State top 10. Georgia Tech just beat them on a walk-off field goal. Georgia Tech's going to be and Georgia Tech just got their Birmingham Bowl rings in the mail the other day. So, we don't know what these teams are going to be. We don't know.
Bowl loss.
Yeah, they got that L.
Oh my gosh, it was Vandy that did. So sorry, guys. Sorry, Vanderbilt fans. My apologies. But Georgia Tech, yes, they finished 7-6 last year. But at the start of the season, they beat a top 10 team on a field goal, and we thought Florida State was going to prime to go back to the college football playoffs. It was a lot of fun last year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year. My one gripe is I'm not a huge over national or overseas international football guy. Like keep it in the States, that's where like it's the juice is, your college football fans are. So leave it to the NFL to do that. But for me, I'm going to rival Freddie here. I'm a Kansas State guy. I like Avery Johnson. They're always a stout team. They're always going to hang around that top 3 of the Big 12. That's always a good thing. Their defense is usually right there on par. And the thing with Iowa State last year, yes, they won their games. They made it to the Big 12 championship. But Iowa State just always they always found a way to win, but it was never convincing. There was a 3-point win. It was always less than double digits most of the time. And it was the same thing with this Kansas State game last year. It was, okay, you win, but it wasn't like, oh, you just scathed by. I think that's what Iowa State. So they got a little lucky last year, in my opinion. And they had some good strides at points. But I think, Quinn, you're hitting it on the head with this one. Taking this rivalry outside of the states of these two and putting it overseas, I think it's going to kill basically the rivalry for the season. And it's just going to be a basic game, I think, kind of like maybe like a bowl game aspect without that much fanfare. And so I think I'm going to go with what I presume will probably be the stronger team in the Wildcats for me personally. So we got Quinn with the Cyclones, me and Freddie here with the Wildcats. We're going to take it to number 2. And this is going to be, oh gosh, Idaho State at UNLV. And the only reason we're going to talk this one, guys, is because of the whole new world of the Running Rebels this season. But you can kind of hit on that, and then we can give your picks. Let's see if anybody's going to shock the world with this one, guys. Quinn?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocking the world with nobody in this game. You ever seen Idaho State play a football game? Because I haven't. So give me UNLV to get the job done here. Look, I think UNLV has a lot of potential, and I'm not talking about exclusively this season, but down the road, especially in the NIL era, to turn themselves into a higher end G5 type program. So when it comes to a UNLV, top end G5 school, going up against a Division II squad, I'm going to take UNLV 10 times out of 10. Now,
Right.
They dropped this game. Now we're talking about, does UNLV even get close to 6 wins and getting to bowl season? But this is one win in that direction to those 6 total. So give me the Running Rebels.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much else to be said here. I mean, Dan Mullen being the head coach at UNLV is definitely going to put them in a position long term, probably, to be successful. And with the NIL money, listen, there's a lot of money in Vegas. I mean, a lot of money in Vegas. The only problem, a lot of that money is from outsiders of the state that come in and spend all the money in Vegas and then leave. So the question is, how will that impact the NIL situation there? But yeah, I mean, Idaho State, whatever. Give me UNLV.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sweep here for sure. But I wanted to kind of mention this game just because of Dan Mullen being there. Michigan's quarterback Alex Orji transferred over there, who a lot of people were excited about at Michigan before last season. So maybe he wasn't used correctly. Maybe he'll have that opportunity. But you got to remember, UNLV last year had that whole controversy with their quarterback not getting the money that he was owed, and so he decided to transfer out and sit out, whatever. Might look into the Running Rebels this year. I think it's going to be really fun to watch Dan Mullen back on the sidelines as a head coach. It's been a while for that. We've seen him more as an analyst here in the last few years. And it's going to be fun to see because you'll see some coaches that had a pretty good stint at places and then they didn't make it. And then they kind of had to drop back to group of 5 or lower power 4 teams. Derek Mason's one at MTSU who coached at Beatty for a little bit. So it's going to be cool to see Dan Mullen and see if this is where he's going to stay for a few years or if he's going to jump up again and maybe make that break back into Power 4 coaching at a high-level university. So UNLV for all 3 of us. We'll go to the third one, guys. We've got the Fresno State Bulldogs, gentlemen, at the Kansas Jayhawks. My goodness. Shout out McLovin. Talking about Kansas here. We always got to shout out our guy. Freddie, we're going to go to you first, baby.
Give me Kansas. Listen, I know that Kansas over the past couple of years have been riddled by injuries, and that's really been something sad to see because Kansas was such a great story a couple of years ago, and they ended up being ranked in the top 15. I think they were like, 8-0, 9-0 at one point. They ended up losing like the last 3 games, including a bowl game, something crazy like that. Kansas is spending a lot of money on their football program. I don't know if you guys have seen the new renderings for the stadium, training facility, gym, like all that stuff. They're spending money in athletics and more so in the football than traditional basketball sense. So that shows me that they're going to start taking it serious. So give me Kansas to win this game against Fresno State. Shout out McLovin.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'll tell you right now, as far as looking at this lineup, this matchup here, I think Fresno's going to be kind of underrated. I see the 13.5 point spread, at least on ESPN. I think they're going to cover that. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think it's going to take Kansas a couple of weeks to actually get their legs under them, which lucky for them. I don't think they play an actual like challenge of a football game for about 4 or 5 weeks. But I think Fresno State's going to give them their toughest challenge through the first handful of weeks. And I expect Kansas to pull away at the very, very end. It's like you said, Freddie, they're starting to put a lot of money into their football program. I think they realize that the amount of money that's at Kansas, it's the largest brand in the Big 12 right now. That's without a doubt in my mind. It is the largest, with Utah and Texas Tech being kind of right there with them. But the money that their basketball program has brought in over the years, if they could even tap into somewhat of a heartbeat in football, Kansas would run away with being the premier team of their league, right? And I think they see that opportunity in front of them. I'm just not convinced that they're fully there yet. It's going to take a while to actually get to that point. I was really hot on Kansas last year. I was really like riding the Kansas hype train. I'm going to kind of jump off of it a little bit. Like I said, they're going to win this game, but I got Fresno covering the spread in this one.
Guys, I'm not mad at what either of y'all are saying about Kansas and about Fresno State here. Last year, the biggest availability you can have is being healthy. Jalen Daniels for Kansas has not been able to do that over the last few seasons. He plays 6 to 7 really good games, and then all of a sudden he gets injured, and then Kansas kind of falls off. And I'm kind of with what Quinn said 2 or 3 years ago. I'm talking about, hey, Kansas might be winning the Big 12, and now it's like, okay, or do we have Kansas that has been winning games the last few years, or are we going back to who Kansas was and losing 8, 9, 10 football games a year? And it's getting pretty close. And again, a few years ago, we'd be talking about how that head coach should be at an SEC Power 5 school across the nation, how good he's been. And now it's, again, just trying to get over the hump of winning 6, 7 games a year and trying to get them further down the road a little bit. And Fresno State was great last year. You got to remember that. They struggled against Michigan early on, but outside of UNLV, who is a strong power in the group of 5 last year, and losing just barely to Washington State, this team lost only within single digits. They were a very good team, took a Northern Illinois team to double OT in a bowl game. I thought they were great last year, and I think they can do that again. But I'm going to rock with what Quinn said. I think Kansas pulls away very late. I think this is maybe a 28-25, 28-24 game, and Fresno State just barely drops this one because it is in Kansas. But I think you're going to see a lot of different things for them. And you're going to have to – Kansas is really going to have to show up this year to have truthers, have believers in their program again, just based on how they've been playing the last few years. So shout out McLovin. We're going to sweep here with Kansas as well. So that's going to be a fun one to watch. I think, honestly, guys, I don't know how y'all feel besides, of course, the marquee Big 12 conference game. I think that could be an underrated, fun first week game right there, is that Fresno State Kansas one.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to 4, guys. We've got another conference game. We're calling the CUSA Sam Houston Bearcats at the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Freddie, we'll go back to you, my friend. Who do you have?
Yeah, so when I look at this game, Western Kentucky is a 9.5-point favorite at home here against Sam Houston. Now, Sam Houston was a great story a couple of years ago. But Western Kentucky historically has been one of, if not the best Conference USA teams over the past decade, it seems like. And with that being said, I'm going to go Western Kentucky here to win this game. I do think Sam Houston covers the spread of 9.5, though. I think 9.5 for week 1, especially 2 teams that nobody's really seen before. It's a good opportunity to make a little money if you want to take Sam Houston in the points, but I do think that the Hilltoppers will actually get this one done.
Yeah, no, Freddie, I like what you pointed out right there. Western Kentucky, when I think Conference USA, they're the premier team of Conference USA, like easily. Like when I start to really think on who do I trust the most year in, year out, Western Kentucky more often than not seems to be making a bowl game, which as a G5 school, that's a huge accomplishment.
Right.
Like saying you're perennially winning 9+ games in the P4. I don't have that same trust as Sam Houston. I've got Western Kentucky actually covering the 9.5. I think home field is going to help them out here. I'm not high on Sam Houston this season. I mean, shoot, they can't spell Bearcat correctly, so how do you expect them to win a football game? So give me the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky to get this done and cover that 9.5 point spread.
Yeah, we're gonna sweep here again. I'm gonna go Western Kentucky. Now, Sam Houston was a great story last season ago, only losing 3 games, winning out on their bowl game in the New Orleans Bowl, beating Liberty as well. Liberty was a big powerhouse for Group of Five as well. Powerhouse. They had the easiest schedule. But anyway, Western Kentucky always seems to have guys that are going in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds of the draft as well. They've usually got some dogs on the team that play really well. And I know one that just transferred in, Maverick McIver. He played for Abilene Christian this past year, I believe it was, at quarterback. So he's probably stepping in as the new quarterback for Western Kentucky this year. But he's a stud last year, a big guy who can really throw the ball down the field, has a really good arm, 60, 70 yards in the air. I think that's going to be really fun to watch. But the other thing with Sam Houston, it's they're a solid team, but they're still young. They've only been in the Group of Five for about 2-3 years now. I think they moved up around 2023. Conference USA is what they've called like the punching bag of FBS Division I football because it is the easiest conference there is. Teams that win and win well and win strong, they usually move on to other conferences. The AAC. Oh my gosh, what's the other one that I'm thinking of, Quinn?
Unbelt.
Sun Belt. There you go. Those kind of programs, they go out there, they go win, and that's what you're accustomed to. But that's why the CUSA, it's usually that buy-in. That's why Delaware went to the CUSA first to start off. So Sam Houston is so young in how to play FBS football, and they're also still finding ways to win. Last year again was a nice surprise. But I'm gonna give it to the Hilltoppers as well. Western Kentucky, been there, done it. I'm actually surprised they're still in the CUSA. I don't know how you guys feel about that one. I think Western Kentucky probably can move up a little bit more. Definitely because within the next decade, you could see them at a Power 4
I'm
conference.
shocked that they didn't go to the American along with UAB, honestly. Like, I really, really am.
Yeah, I kind of expected them to jump ship to either the American or them in Middle Tennessee together to go and fill in the Sun Belt, which is a conference that doesn't representation in either Kentucky or Tennessee. So I was pretty shocked that they're still in the CUSA.
Yeah, and maybe it's just like we can, well, Jacksonville State's kind of ruined it right now, but we can stat pad, add some more conference championships, add some more stuff like that. But yeah, I can't believe they're still in the CUSA. But we'll sweep that one as well. We'll all go Hilltoppers here. We've only had one difference in our picks so far, gentlemen. Wow, real riveting stuff here. But we got our final one of the Saturday, August 23rd slate. You've got one of the best schools in America, Stanford, at Hawaii. That's going to be real fun. The Rainbow Warriors. Quinn, we're going to go to you, my friend. What do you get of this just hard-nosed matchup here?
Oh man, what a thrilling game we have between the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors and still build a football team. What a fall from grace they have had, right? I mean, hey, go back a decade. 2015 Stanford was just barely missing out at the playoff. And now Stanford can't win more than 3 games in a season.
Yeah.
Look, the biggest win for this game is anyone who wants to go. Tickets are starting at $55. That's pretty sick. Give me Hawaii. I like the Rainbow Warriors to get an upset week 1 on Stanford. I'm not high on Stanford, man. They're going to find a way to mess around and beat like a Syracuse team that people think's good, but they're not. And then that's going to really crush some ACC team's schedule. But like outside of that'll be like their one big win. It'll kind of be like, Cal messing around and upsetting Auburn last year and everybody going, what the heck, is Cal good? No, they weren't good. They got a win early in the, so this give me Hawaii. I kind of think this could be a springboard to Hawaii having a better than projected season because they're projected to do bottom half of the Mountain West this year. But I think this could help springboard them to a little bit above mediocre in that conference. So give me the Rainbow Warriors.
Um, that's hilarious, Quinn. But for real, it is very odd to see Stanford where they're at. I mean, like you said, a couple wins away from the playoffs, and then their conference disappears. Now they're playing in the ACC when they're across the country from the ACC.
Yeah.
It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. However, I think Stanford's going to win this game by 10-plus points. I know it's at Hawaii. I know that Hawaii is favored by 1.5, but give me Stanford, man. I don't know why. They're not going to be good. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Just because they beat Hawaii by 10 points does not mean that Stanford's going to be a good football team in 2025. I just wanted to make that now before somebody clips this and it, whatever. But they're better than Hawaii. I mean, come on now. Come on. Stanford's going to be out there in paradise. They're going to be relaxed. They're going to have a good time. And then they're going to lock in, and they're going to beat the Rainbow Warriors. So give me Stanford.
Yeah, Stanford by the 10-plus points would usually get most people in a straitjacket. Freddie, we love you enough to just allow you to say that openly, though. But both of these teams, it's, one of the hardest nose matchup combined last year. They had 8 wins total between the two. So just really, really fun things. And that's with Hawaii winning 5. So Stanford last year, there's a lot of turnover for Stanford. Mainly they finally got a new head coach, Frank Reich, from the NFL. He was taking some time off from being a coordinator. They hired him in. Frank Reich used to play for Stanford back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, right? I believe that's what it was.
I believe so, yes.
I think so. But Frank Reich is the coach. However, Frank Reich is not the coach of the future. They have set in stone. It's a 1-year deal for Reich, and he's only coaching there for this season only, no matter how it goes. They could go to the college football playoffs to win the national championship, and it is believed that Reich is still going to retire or finish coaching in Stanford after that. And then now in the state of NIL that we have, you have general managers of teams, and usually it is prominent college athletes that played at your program, and Andrew Luck has been taking that role here at Stanford. So I think it's a really weird stuff that's going on there. And that's why I think Stanford is going to be that team this year that somehow rattles off 9 wins in this wacky season that they're going to have. I'm going to take Stanford in this first one too, just because it feels chaotic. And I think it's going to work out for them. They're going to just pop up. They're going to win 5-6 ACC games, and they're going to be just this team that's like, how are you winning and why are you winning? And this should easily be a season where you win no games and just move on with your lives and throw this in the back of the record book. But it is Hawaii too. I mean, come on, dude. Hawaii lost to Sam Houston last year. We just talked about Sam Houston. So, Hawaii's not a traditionally great team, hasn't been since their whack days with Cole Brennan. So I'm going to take Stanford in this first one. I don't think this is going to be Stanford's face of the future, but I think they'll find a couple things out. And I think the wackiness of the Andrew Luck return, Frank Reich at coach, and I think it'll have some things settled down about these two. So I'll take Stanford in this one.
Let's go. Let's go.
3 bold takes, guys. You get to hear Chase say that Stanford's going to win 9 football games.
Yeah. Okay. Now that's crazier than beating Hawaii by 10-plus points. Okay.
Well, just significantly, that's the craziest thing anyone said in this entire segment.
I'm just thinking about how many teams have done just really weird things. It's like, oh, dude, this team's never going to win anything. And it's like, you just won 8 games in a decent bowl game. Oh my gosh, how'd you do that? And I have a weird feeling it's gonna be Stanford this year. They're either going 0-12 or winning 9 games. There's no in between, I don't think. And it's
their schedule's pretty tough, though.
Yeah, what is it again? I didn't fully know.
They definitely play Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's at BYU, Boston College at home, at Virginia, San Jose State, at SMU, Florida State, Miami, Pitt, North Carolina, Cal, and Notre Dame.
Stanford's still winning 9 games, Chase.
There's a shot. I mean, last year with Florida State, dude. Florida State won 2 games, 3 games, and one of those was to a NAIA school for homecoming that they still had a scare with. It's just There's some wacky things that go on. So, like, is Florida State going to be good? Carson Beck, Sid the Sloth at Miami, are they going to be good? Notre Dame
Yes.
coming to Stanford, they're going to be terrified. I know those Irish are going to be just scared to go to Stanford.
No, they're
So
not.
just so it can be wacky. But the TV networks have obviously not cared to take Stanford right away for their primetime games. I can see there's only 4 are on the books right now, but maybe Stanford wins 9 games. Maybe somebody clips this and we come back to it at the end of the year and we know that Stanford won 9 games. But hey, so guys, we just got done with our first week 0 weekend Warriors look. Again, we're going to do all of the games from week 0 to week 1 just to have some fun with them, give you some inside looks at some teams that maybe not every program gets to talk about. But 3 bold takes here. We always love to talk about every team because it's fun talking college football with the guys. So for Quinn, Freddie, and Chase, we're signing off.